Let's look at moons in the Old Testament. Let's go to Genesis 37, and we want 5 through 11. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obedience to my sheaves. And his brethren said unto him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it to his brethren. And behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obedience to me. And he told it to his father and his brethren. And his father rebuked him, and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren come and bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brothers envied him, but his father observed his saying. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, and we want 15 through 19. Take heed, therefore, good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of solitude upon the day that the Lord spoke unto you in Hebron, out of the midst of the fire, lest ye corrupt yourselves, and make you graven images, to submit in any figure the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth upon the earth, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. And lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven, should be driven to worship them, and serve them, which the Lord thy God hath divided into all nations under the whole heaven. Let's go to chapter 17, and we want 2 through 5. If there be found among you within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, man or woman, that hath wrought wickedness in the sight of the Lord thy God, in transgression in his covenant, and hath gone and served other gods and worshipped them, whether the sun or the moon, or any of the hosts of heaven, which I have not commanded, and it be told thee, and thou hast heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true, and the thing certain, that which abomination is brought into Israel, then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman which hath committed that wicked thing into thy gates, even that man or woman, and shalt stone him with stones till they die. Now, if the Israelites was to have done that, then we wouldn't be in the shape we are in now. Let's go to chapter 33. We want 13 through 16. And of Joseph he said, Blessed of the Lord be his land, for the precious things of heaven, and for the dew, and for the deep that causes beneath, and the precious fruit brought forth by the sun, and for the precious things put forth by the moon, for the chief things of the ancient mountains, and for the precious things of the lasting hills, and for the precious things of the earth, and fullness thereof, for the good will of him that dwelt in the bush. Let the blessings come upon the head of Joseph, and upon the top of the head of him that was separated from his brethren. That sounds to me like they were praying to the earth. Let's go to Joshua 10, and we want 12 through 14. Then spoke Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still, and upon Gideon, and thou moon in the valley of Adron. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon the enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and haste not to go down about the whole day. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man. For the Lord fought for Israel. Let's go to 1 Samuel. We want chapter 20 and verse 5. And David said to Jonathan, Behold, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king at meat. But let me go, that I may hide myself in the field until the third day at evening. Let's go to verse 18. And then Jonathan said to David, Tomorrow is a new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. Let's go to verse 24. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat down to eat meat. Let's go to 2 Kings, and we want chapter 4, verse 23. And he said, Wherefore wilt thou go to him today? It is neither the new moon nor the Sabbath. And she said, I shall be well. Let's go to chapter 23, and we want 4 through 6. And the king commanded Hilkiah, the high priest, and the priest of the second order, and the keepers of the door, to bring forth out of the temple of the Lord all the vessels that were made for Baal, and for the grove, and for all the host of heaven. And he burned them without Jerusalem, in the field of Kedron, and carried the ashes of them into Bethel. And he put down the idolatrous priests, which the king of Judah had ordered to burn incense in the high places in the city of Judah, and in the places around about Jerusalem. Them also that burnt incense unto Baal, and to the sun, and to the moon, and to the plants, and unto all the host of heaven. And he brought out of the grove from the house of the Lord without Jerusalem unto the brook Kidron, and burned it at the brook Kidron, and stomped it small into powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the graves of the children of the people. Let's go to Job. We want chapter 25, and we want 5 and 6. Behold, even to the moon, and it shineth not, yea, the stars are not pure in his sight. How much less man that is a worm, and the Son of Man, which is a worm. Let's go to chapter 31, and we want 24 through 28. If I have made gold my hope, or have said to the fine gold, thou art my confidence, if I rejoice because my wealth was great, and because my hand had gotten much, if I behold the sun when it shine, or the moon walketh in brightness, and my heart has seen secretly enticed, or my mouth has kissed my hand, this also were iniquity, to be punished by the judge. For shall I have denied the God that is above? Let's go to Psalms 8. We want 3 and 4. When I consider thy heavens, the works of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained. What is man that thou art mindful of him, the Son of Man that thou visitest him? Let's go to chapter 72, and we want 5 through 8. They shall fear thee, as long as the sun and moon endure throughout all generations. He shall come down like rain upon the mown grass, as showers that water the earth. In his days shall the righteous flourish, and abundance of peace, so long as the moon endureth. He shall give dominion also from the sea to sea, and from river unto the end of the earth. Let's go to chapter 81, and we want verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time of appointed, on our solemn feast day. Let's go to chapter 89, and we want verse 37. It shall be established forever as a moon, and as a faithful witness in heaven. Selah. Let's go to chapter 104, and we want verse 19. He appointed the moon for a season, the sun knoweth his going down. Let's go to chapter 121, and we want verse 6. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Let's go to chapter 136, and we want 7 through 9. To him that made great light, for his mercy endureth forever. The sun to rule the day, for the mercy endureth forever. The moon and stars to rule the night, for his mercy endures forever. Let's go to 148, and we want verse 3. Praise ye him, sun and moon, praise him, all ye stars of light. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes. We want chapter 12, and we want 1 through 6. Remember, thou Creator, in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun, or the light, or the moon, or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves to the greater cause, because they are few, and these that look out of the window be darkened. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of the music shall be brought low. Also when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fall, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Or ever the silver cord be loosened, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern. Let's go to Songs of Solomon, chapter 6, and verse 10. Who is she that looketh forth as the morning, fair as the moon, clear as the sun, and terrible as an army with banners? Let's go to Isaiah. We want chapter 3, and we want 18 through 24. In that day the Lord will take away the bravery of their tickling ornaments about their feet, and their cowls, and their round tires like the moon, the chains, and the bracelets, and the mufflers, and the bonnets, and the ornaments of their legs, and the handbells, and the tablets, and the earrings, and the rings and nose jewelry, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles, and the whelpings, and the creeping pins, the glasses, and the fine linen, and the hoods, and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of a well-set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girdle of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Let's go to chapter 13. We want 9 and 10. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and furious anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light, and the sun shall be darkened, and his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Let's go to chapter 24, and we want 20 through 23. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgressors thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall, and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in a pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when the Lord of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, and before his ancient of gloriness. Let's go to chapter 30, and we want 25 to 28. And there shall be upon every high mountain, and upon every high hill, rivers and streams of water, in the day of the great slaughter, when the towers fall. Moreover, the light of the moon shall be the light of the sun, and the light of the sun shall be sevenfold as the light of the 7th day. And in the day that the Lord blind up the branches of his people, and healeth the stroke of their wounds, behold, the name of the Lord cometh from afar, burning with his anger, and the burden thereof is heavy. His lips are full of indignation, and his tongue as the devouring fire. And his breath as an overflowing stream shall reach to the midst of the neck, to swift the nations with the strides of vanity. And there shall be a bundle in the jaws of the people, causing them to err. Let's go to chapter 60, and we want 19 and 20. These sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee, but the Lord shall be upon thee, an everlasting light, and thy God thy glory. The sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the day of thy mourning shall be ending. Let's go to 66, and we want 22 through 24. For as new heavens and the new earth which I make shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be a horde unto all flesh. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 8, and we want 1 through 3. At that time, saith the Lord, thou shalt bring out the bones of the kings of Judah, and the bones of his princes, and the bones of the priests, and the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem out of their graves. And they shall spread them before the sun and the moon, and all the host of heaven whom they have loved, and whom they have served, and after whom they have walked, and whom they have sought, and whom they have worshipped. They shall not be gathered, nor be buried. They shall be for dung upon the face of the earth, and the death shall be chosen rather than life, by all the residents of them that remain of this evil family, which remain in all the places whither I have driven them, saith the Lord of hosts. Let's go to chapter 31 and 35 and 36. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinance of the moon and the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. If these ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Let's go to Ezekiel. We want 32 and verse 7. And when I shall put thee out, I will cover the heavens, and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. Let's go to 46 and verse 1. Thus saith the Lord God, the gate of the inner court that looketh towards the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath it shall be open, and in the day of the new moon it shall be open. Let's go to Joel, and we want chapter 2, and we want verses 10 and 11. The earth shall shake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shine. And the Lord shall utter the voice before his army, for his camp is very great, and for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Let's go on down to 30 and 32. And I shall show wonders in the heaven and the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord saith, and in the raiment whom the Lord shall call. Let's go to chapter 3 and verse 15. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Let's go to Amos. We want chapter 8, and we want 4 and 5. Hear this, O ye that swallow up the needy, even to make the poor of the land to fail, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephod small and the shekel great, and falsifying the balance by deceit. Let's go to Habakkuk chapter 3, and we want 10 and 11. The moon saw thee, and thy trembling. The overflowing of the water passed by. The deep uttered his voice, and lifted up his hand on high. The sun and moon stood still in their habitation at the light of thine. Arrows they went, and at the shining of thy glittering spear. Now let's go to Joshua, and we want 10, and we want 11 through 13. And it came to pass that they fled from before Israel, and there is going down to Bethram. And the Lord cast down the great stones from heaven upon them, and to Azekah, and they died. They were more which died with hailstones, and they with the children of Israel slew, and with the sword. Then they spoke Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Hedron, and the moon in the valley of Adullam. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged himself upon the enemies. Is not this written in the book of Joshua? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hast not to go down about a whole day. And there was no day like that before or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. In the Strong's is 3394, the moon. And it also takes you to 2320, which is the moon too. 3391, Lutheran month. 3842, white, the moon. This takes us to 3838. One of the Nephilims, Leuben, Laban, and Isaiah 13 and 10. And that is, for the stars of heaven and the constellation thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth. The moon shall not cause her light to shine.